Hello and welcome to CTV News Across Canada for Thursday, September 4th. We've got the top local stories from coast to coast, stories that affect you and the country. Thanks for joining us.
In an alleyway, a suspect wearing handcuffs stands and is escorted to a parked police cruiser as an officer carries a backpack steps away from the scene of a shooting.
Boom, 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 just like that. Then stop the second, then it started again, like the same. And you could see, you could hear that there were gunshots.
Police say two groups of 3 to 4 people were shooting at each other from opposite sides of the street near Keele and Donald Avenue outside York Memorial Collegiate Institute.
We see, I don't know if it's two boys cross the street and with a mask and the black shirts, and they look back all the time. I don't know if he's scared or something happened with that too.
Police say 2 people were shot, a 17-year-old who was with one of the groups and a woman in her 30s in this white Jeep driving by was caught in the crossfire.
Non-life-threatening as far as my last update. However, she isn't undergoing medical treatment at an area trauma center as we speak.
Police say the teen's condition is also non-life-threatening. This man was delivering something to the school at the time.
Right beside that sidewalk, I saw mags. Then I was pretty sure that it's a shooting. And then I saw that Jeep is beside there, it's a pool of blood.
The gunfire erupted just before noon in a busy area of the city.
An unfortunate incident that, this sort of nonsense is taking place broad daylight across from a school where, it's very heavy traffic. This is the main artery.
According to the TDSB, 3 nearby schools were put into a hold and secure, and York Memorial was put into lockdown.
Scared every day. It's scared. I don't know what we're sending our kids to school to. It's scary. This has become the States. I just want to get my kid home right now.
Police did not confirm if anyone involved was from York Memorial, saying it's still too early in the investigation. Police say that they did recover a loaded magazine and a firearm, but they believe there is still one out there, and they are looking for anywhere from 6 to 8 people. Reporting live, I'm Allison Hurst.
Had some help with family money, which is pretty common for people our age to buy, unfortunately.
Nate Lavoie bought a townhome just over a year ago, but it wasn't easy.
It's tough. I mean, we were renting a year ago, and we kind of looked around, and the rental prices were insane.
He and other young Canadians are grappling with the realities of a housing crisis.
Most of our friends still rent, and anything that's increasing housing supply is good for us.
As Ottawa's population grows, so too does its need for more homes.
The important thing for me in this whole discussion is making sure that we're not pricing out our young professionals, because those are the people that we want to not only retain in the city, but they're the people that we want to attract to the city. And that's what's going to make the city healthy in the next 10, 20, 30 years.
An update to proposed zoning rules could allow 3-story buildings in essentially all neighborhoods right across the city.
The city wants to build 90,000 new homes in neighborhood spaces, along major corridors, around transit hubs, and it needs the permissiveness in zoning to achieve that new housing.
That includes suburban areas like Bell's Corners, where most of the homes are single-family bungalows.
Personally, I love it the way it is. That's why we moved here. I'd hate to see it become what Westboro has become.
Building taller opens the door to more multi-unit homes, and some residents have concerns.
I'm not sure how the infrastructure is geared to handle that.
City officials, meantime, say the changes won't happen overnight.
You're not going to wake up one morning 2 years from now and find out that everything is 3 stories around you. It will be a slow evolution.
The final draft of the new zoning bylaw will be released on September 8th, and councillors will finalize the plan on December 17th.
It's going to come one way or another. I just hope that it's carried out carefully and constructively.
Now, some other changes in the third draft of the new zoning bylaw include increasing the maximum height of high-rise buildings by 3 stories and allowing them to be built closer to existing buildings in high-density areas. Public consultations continue through September, including an open house at the EY Centre on September 23rd.
It was launched with great fanfare and a lot of hope. The Northvolt project was Quebec's largest private investment, a battery factory that would create 3,000 jobs and an opportunity to shape Quebec's economy for decades to come. But it wasn't meant to be.
Yes, it's supposed to be the future. We're supposed to get out of oil economy eventually. Maybe it's too soon. Maybe it was not well done.
Quebec says $270 million is gone for good, but it should be able to get back some money from the land and some frozen accounts. In a statement, Quebec's economy minister said the $240 million loan benefits from guarantees for its repayment. This venture proved unsuccessful, and we are obviously disappointed. The mayors of Saint-Basile-le-Grand and McMasterville, where the factory was supposed to be located, say their communities will miss out. McMasterville Mayor Martin Dulac says there was hope for his community because the project would have brought quality jobs. Saint-Basile-le-Grand Mayor Yves Lessard says there could be another project built on the land, a location he says has potential because decontamination work was carried out and a road was built.
To create a sustainable electric future.
But the project has faced its share of criticism, and citizens still have concerns.
They will try to bring back the money to us, but what will happen next with this field? What is the future?
La Presse columnist Yves Boisvert points out Northvolt was a key project for the Premier.
I don't know how you recover from that, because that was at the heart of their economic vision for Quebec.
Northvolt North America says it is not in bankruptcy and has substantial resources to relaunch the project. It calls Quebec's decision deeply regrettable. But with the province pulling out, there isn't much hope that we'll ever see a Northvolt battery plant. Matt Grillo, CTV News, Saint-Basile-le-Grand.
Distraction thefts, Toronto police say, often play out in commercial parking lots like this one. Here, a female suspect in the black SUV speaks to the victim asking for directions. She goes on to say it's her birthday and because of her custom, she should give a gift. The victim then goes over to the other side of the SUV and is given a ring and is hugged. Only after the SUV drives off does the victim realize their necklace is gone.
These suspects typically work in pairs, sometimes even involving children.
Reports of distraction thefts are surging, 374 already this year compared to the same period last year. Officers believe many of them go unreported. Thefts can also unfold at a victim's property. This time, someone on the passenger side of the vehicle asks the victim for directions to the nearest mosque and to pray for their sick mother. The suspect then begins putting rings and necklaces on the victim before trying to take the victim's watch and necklace. There's a struggle, and the vehicle ends up dragging the victim down the street.
Suspects often remain in vehicles, which makes identification difficult. The victims, primarily elderly, are often left in shock, limiting their ability to provide accurate descriptions.
Police say distraction thefts typically target people 60 to 90 years of age who are alone, wearing jewelry from mid-morning to mid-afternoon. Tactics include asking for directions, pretending to need help, starting an argument or scene, spilling something on the victim, offering to sell or gift jewelry, and asking the victim to pray with them. Police are troubled by the increasing level of violence by suspects, which are believed to be linked to organized crime. To stop thieves, officers in the east and west have launched a coordinated effort with targeted investigations and are increasing patrols in commercial, residential, and high-traffic areas. Tips to protect yourself include making sure bags are zipped, not to leave them on tables or the backs of chairs, and keep a distance. If someone is close enough to put a necklace around your neck, they're too close. Beth McDonnell, CTV News.
Nova Scotia Power's proposal to raise rates over the next 2 years isn't sitting well with everyone. If approved by the Nova Scotia Energy Board, residential rates would increase by 4.1% in 2026 and again in 2027.
If you look at the past couple of years, Nova Scotians have been struggling with high cost of living. We've seen years of high inflation across Canada. And now Nova Scotia Power wants to pile on even more with higher energy bills. So we're certainly opposed to this proposal.
It's all being done to help pay for $1.3 billion in maintenance and improvements to the electricity grid. The utility says the settlement was reached after 6 months of discussion and consultation with customer service representatives. In a statement to CTV News, small business advocate Melissa McAdams says the negotiated settlement that has been filed with the board reflects a long process looking at the costs of a more reliable, safe and green electricity grid while balancing the need for affordability. The SBA believes that the agreement represents a reasonable resolution of these competing pressures. Yesterday, Premier Tim Houston called the utilities' move out of touch. The Canadian Taxpayers Federation agrees.
So instead of perhaps asking hardworking Nova Scotians to pay more, maybe Nova Scotia Power should be looking a bit internally and finding out how they can trim their own costs and work more effectively.
They want the province to step in and have a more direct role in the situation.
It's clear citizens, taxpayers, seniors, families in this province are concerned about this rate hike, and I think it should be something that the government should look at potentially intervening in more directly to address this issue.
NSP is expected to file the settlement by the end of the month. New rates would be effective January 1st of both years. Vanessa Wright, CTV News, Halifax.
The Simcoe Muskoka Catholic District School Board has 2 new schools under construction this fall with the goal of having them open by the first day of school next year. One is in Tottenham, the other is in Bradford.
Bradford and Tottenham are our fastest growing regions in our board.
What's interesting about the new build is the 2 schools will have the same layouts. The board is using the same design for both schools. Both will be about 50,000 square feet in size. Both will have space for childcare. And both will cost more than $20 million to construct. People who live near the schools say they're excited to have a new option closer to home.
Exciting, happy. We have like an overflow of kids and new families coming, so having obviously more options and more of an opening for kids to come.
Construction crews are currently working on the masonry walls at ground level. The projects will continue through the winter with a tight timeline.
Both schools are on schedule, and even whether they're on schedule or maybe even a little bit ahead of schedule. So we're in very good shape with the construction schedule to be ready for next fall.
I'm excited, it's close for my kids to go to school, so, a little bit easier for me doing the drop-off and pick-up.
Now, the total cost of the 2 new schools is pegged at $23 million apiece, and both schools are expected to be open come next fall. Rob Cooper, CTV News, Brad.
As of August 29th, the de minimis exemption, which allowed goods under $800 to enter the United States without extra fees, came to an end following orders from President Donald Trump. The Sault Ste. Marie Chamber of Commerce says small businesses are already feeling the impact.
A lot of the small ones right now, they're really trying to pivot and trying to adjust and understand how it's going to impact them. Some have just stopped shipping to the U.S. Others have tried to tack on their price, the added cost to their price, and saw sales volumes decrease. So it's had an immediate effect for sure.
Plus Factor is an inclusive clothing store that's been operating in Sudbury for over a decade. Its owner says she stopped using a supplier in the United States recently due to the high costs and says the past few months have been stressful amid all the uncertainty.
The uncertainty in business, there's always some, but there's even more now. So it just makes the long-term planning a lot more difficult. And like I said, after 15 years, I truly thought this was going to get easier. It just seems to be getting more difficult.
It's a similar story for Nukify, which sells clothing and products online and in its physical location in downtown Sudbury. The hope was to break into the American market, but now the business's owner says that goal will have to be delayed for now.
We are now thinking like 2 to 3 times, like, okay, should we take the products from the US or should we deliver the products to the US, because the traffic is now there. So we need to now think. We need to now think and restructure, like how can we manage it.
For many small businesses, the hope is that a solution will be found. But for now, they are navigating a new and very challenging global market. Amanda Hicks, CTV News, Sudbury.
When it comes to childcare, Andrew Dick considers himself one of the lucky ones. His 1-year-old son, Edward, has a daycare spot this October.
That only came from kind of inside information and a referral from a friend. Otherwise, he's been on like dozens of wait lists for many months without any sort of lead.
It's a similar situation for Winnipeg parent Rhea Rock.
My firstborn, I put her on the list when I was pregnant, and I got calls when she was 3. So obviously the traditional method of just putting yourself on the list doesn't really work.
Stories like theirs are far from unique, according to a survey of nearly 1,900 parents conducted by Probe Research and the Manitoba Child Care Association. It found parents spent an average of 17 months on a wait list, while 52% reported having to delay their return to work due to trouble finding a spot.
That's a big issue for us here in Manitoba. We need to provide more opportunities and more spaces for families to have access.
Association President Kathy Gardner says at the Charleswood daycare she operates, there's about 500 parents on a wait list.
That's pretty universal across the city.
She says while Manitoba's $10 a day childcare has made spots more affordable, it's also made them harder to find. She's calling on the province to boost funding for space and staff.
We have opened 3 new schools this September. All 3 of those schools will include daycare spaces, and so we have added more than 300 childcare spaces this fall alone.
Education and Early Childhood Learning Minister Tracy Schmidt says the province has plans to open more spots in the coming years as well, and when it comes to staffing, she pointed to a provincial pay bump up to $5 more an hour for frontline workers.
Our government is making great strides. We know that there's more work left to do.
Her message to parents on the wait list:
hang in there.
But for Andrew Dick, his advice:
as soon as a pregnant lady pees on the stick, you should be putting your name on childcare wait lists.
Danton Unger, CTV News, Winnipeg.
28 Calgary schools are on a list of those with texts deemed sexually inappropriate for students. For the first time, the education minister sharing that list on social media site X, saying he has been asked to prove the books exist in those libraries. He says Albertans deserve transparency.
It's kind of stupid, to be fair, because yes, it does contain sexually explicit stuff, but it's stuff that is around us every single day.
4 novels with what's described as pornographic images were brought to the minister's attention in May.
Our concern is that books with highly sexualized content are being given to children without their parents' consent.
But the Calgary Board of Education says there are policies to keep families in the know and adds no single elementary schools carried any of these books.
Our common goals are developmentally appropriate books available to students to ensure that our students are critical thinkers and reflect diverse perspectives.
The list comes amid a blowback to a ministerial order directing school divisions to remove books containing sexually explicit content. As a result, Edmonton's public school division listed 200 books that had to go, including novels from celebrated authors, prompting criticism from educators and librarians.
There isn't a lot of school library professionals in Alberta to do this work. There's a handful in the Edmonton Public School District, a handful in Calgary, and that's all we've been able to really locate in the whole province.
It also sparked ridicule from those in the literary world and accusations of discrimination due to the LGBTQ+ themes of the 4 targeted books.
It just baffles me. So the only thing I can come up with is that this is an ideological battle on the part of the UCP government. It's used as a distraction from their greater scandals.
The minister is revising the order, but back at school, students say banning books will only encourage kids to find the information elsewhere.
If they're banning books, we can obviously just look on the internet and find these banned books anyway.
Phillips called his stepdaughter over after opening mail from TD Insurance. They were both stunned. The quote to renew coverage for the home was $9,000.
It was a little bit of a shock that it would go up that much.
Wow, yeah, $9,000. What happened?
That's a 70% increase from last year's annual rate at $5,300. Customer service told them there was no mistake.
I haven't been a burden on them. I've had one claim for roof damage, and that was it.
In 20 years of coverage, his most recent claim was back in 2013, but claims across the province and the country are likely behind this rate hike. The Insurance Bureau of Canada says last summer alone, companies paid out a record $8.5 billion for insurable damage due to climate disasters. Alberta makes up half of that, with the Jasper wildfire and last August's hailstorm that hammered the Northeast.
All of that is putting pressure on insurance premiums as we see the cost of these events continue to go up and up and up.
He adds the claims of the few affect the premiums of the many. Climate experts say extreme events are becoming common.
Climate change, global heating is supercharging our weather systems. More heat, more water mean more fuel for storms.
Some brokers advise shopping around.
At the end of the day, this is about coverage and making sure that when the sudden and unexpected happens, you have a package that's going to respond and make sure that you're not in financial dire straits.
That was the advice given to Alvin Phillips.
Yeah, if you don't like it, go somewhere else. That's basically what they're saying.
This much and this much effect all at one time for one household is a lot.
Stephanie Thomas, CTV News, Calgary.
You're under arrest. All right. Calm down.
It all unfolded at 4:30 this morning when RCMP executed a search warrant at the village's former school. Mounties moved in after a report of someone in the building being in possession of a firearm.
That report was received on August 25th, 2025. After receiving this report, Saskatchewan RCMP began an extensive investigation. This included careful monitoring of any risk to public safety and to the community of Richmond.
There were more than 30 police vehicles and dozens of officers involved in the operation, including members of SWAT teams and police dog services. In all, 16 people were arrested, 5 men and 11 women. Among them, the self-proclaimed Queen of Canada, Romana Didulo.
She presented herself and identified herself as that and released it to the public, so I can confirm that she is in custody. But beyond that, I can't identify anybody else.
Didulo, the leader of this conspiracy group, has been in Richmond since 2023 after being forced out of the town of Kamsack. Police say the compound has been on their radar for some time, and they finally gathered enough evidence to move in.
Through the course of any of our investigations, before we take any action, we have to make sure that we do meet the thresholds that the courts will be satisfied that we can enter into private property.
I think that this is check. If it's not, checkmate.
Richmond resident Vanessa Johnson says for the last 2 years, the cult has created worry in the town among residents.
I mean, they've got surveillance, they had spotlights, they were threatening us, they were always being shady. You couldn't take your dog for a walk in the park. You couldn't take your kids over there without them videotaping you.
Johnson says the arrest is a win for the community.
She's no queen, she's no cult leader, she's no one to follow. I really do think that even if they do stay, this has just kind of given us a little bit more momentum on our side. It's a win for us. It's a win for us regardless.
RCMP have 24 hours to press charges. Otherwise, those arrested could be released. As of right now, 4 replica handguns have been seized while the investigation continues. Angela Stewart, CTV News, Richmond.
My commitment to uphold the values and code of ethics is firm, and maintaining public confidence is foundational to our work.
Saskatoon Police Chief Cam McBride told a news conference Wednesday 3 members of the Saskatoon Police Service have been dismissed as unsuitable for police service under the Police Act. 2 of those were let go just Wednesday morning. The 3 members consist of 2 constables with 9 and 10 years service and a special constable with 2 years service. It all centers around an off-duty gathering in September of 2024.
While the events that occurred at a house party precipitated the need to investigate, the investigation grew to include additional allegations of misconduct.
2 other members who were also part of the case were reinstated and returned to work in April 2025 following the investigation. McBride said to his knowledge the scope of this action has not happened previously. He wouldn't elaborate on the allegations that the dismissed members were associated with a biker gang, but did say this.
Part of the investigation included allegations that a relationship pre-existed, and that was part of the investigation.
That lengthy investigation was conducted by SPS Professional Standards. One of the 3 members has indicated at this point that they plan to appeal the decision. According to McBride, this investigation was responsible in part for changes to the SPS policy around member association to groups, including gangs.
We've had a very robust conflict of interest policy, but it did not include undesirable association component to it. And we do have that now.
The Saskatchewan Serious Incident Response Team, or CERT, is continuing to investigate one aspect of the incident. Carla Shinkaruk, CTV News, Saskatoon.